Hi guys, I hope you're doing well, and in today's video we're going to make a protection jar. I know this isn't like any of my videos, but I would like to show you how to make a very simple protection jar and use it on the daily. Whether you have a very angry ex or maybe some angry co-workers or just jealous people around you, you can use that jar for pretty much anything. Now, it's very important when you do spiritual practices, even if you just read tarot. It's very important to protect yourself not only from negative people, not only from their energy, but also from negative energy that's out there, negative spirits and stuff like that. So I highly recommend making one of these, and this is a very simple recipe. You have all of these ingredients in your kitchen already, so let's get started. Okay guys, here we go with our protection jar spell or just protection jar, whatever you want to call it. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to be using a jar like this. However, I like to do this ritual or spell in little jars like this because I like to keep them in my purse or by my window, by my bed. You know, they're very small and convenient to carry around with you, and I do need a new protection jar because I do a lot of spiritual practices. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to be using a big one. Now, like I said, you can use any size jar. It doesn't really mean the bigger the better, you know, they all are going to work the same. It's your intention that's the most important. No herb, no crystals, nothing is going to work if your intention is not set, okay? So for today's ritual, we are doing a protection spell. We just had a full moon. Now the moon is in waning phase, and it's a great time to release of negative energy, to let go, to set those protection intentions, and just to protect yourself, okay guys, especially for those that do spiritual practices like I do. Okay, so let's start. Now, I already cleansed all of my ingredients with myrrh incense. You can use white sage, you can use myrrh, you can use dragon's blood, you know, whatever is available to you. I'm using this brand right now. I got it at my local flea market, so yeah, whatever you have on hand, guys, but it has to be something that cleanses the aura, something that can cleanse your ingredients so they're ready for the ritual. Okay, so I have that burning. Now, the very first thing that I usually put in my jars is salt. Now, this is the salt that I have. I bought it, I think, at Walmart. I'm not exactly sure, but you know, kosher salt will work. Any kind of salt. Pink Himalayan salt is really good. Also black salt. If you don't have any of that, I'm sure that you have regular salt in your cabinet. So let's just start. I'm going to put this in my shell. I apologize that it's dirty. It's just that I use it a lot for my rituals. Okay, and I'm thinking about it. I'm not just putting ingredients in my jar. I'm actually thinking about the protection that this provides. Okay, so this much is enough. You can put as much as you want. If you want a full jar, you know, with everything in it, you can go for it. There are no rules how much you need to put in your jar. Now, another thing is, where's my Sharpie? I don't have a Sharpie on me, but bay leaves. They are very good for protection. They're very good for manifestation as well. However, the phase of the moon that we're working with right now is not necessarily the best for manifestation, but it's really good for protection. So I'm gonna use 3 bay leaves. Don't ask me why. 3 is a pretty powerful number in magic. However, you know, I think that 3 is just, I like that number. Go with your intuition. Think of what you like. Think of your lucky number and go with it. Now, you could crush the leaf, but since I have a big jar this time, I'm just gonna put them all like that. Okay, so now that we're done with our bay leaf, we're moving on to the next ingredient. And the next ingredient, I prefer to use black pepper. Black pepper is one of the best ingredients for protection. It's very solid, it's very straight to the point, and it's going to keep all the negative people and their spirits away from you. Now, okay, I'm afraid to make a mess. I'm more generous with black pepper than I am with salt. However, like I said, guys, it's your personal preference. Whatever you think protects you. It's all about intention. It's not about the ingredient. It's all about the intention. All right. Now, oh my god, I just smelled it. I'm about to start sneezing. No, please, no. Okay, so the next ingredient that I'm going to use is cinnamon. Now, if you want to go very fancy, it's not focusing. If you want to go very fancy, I would use cinnamon sticks, which I'm going to use one for this ritual. However, ground cinnamon, guys, works as well, and I don't know why I don't have it on my table at the moment, but you get what I'm saying. So I'm going to put a cinnamon stick in my jar for protection. And look how pretty it's looking already. Maybe you're like, no, it's not looking pretty. Okay, so cinnamon is very powerful. Cinnamon is also used for speed, to kind of speed up that protection process. And to be honest with you, you know, it sucks because I could have used some protection jar like 2-3 years ago. It would have worked so well for me. However, for some reason, you know, I got into this recently. Now, okay, the next ingredient that we're going to use is frankincense resin. I got this from Wish a few months ago, and again, this is a great ingredient to protect your home, to protect yourself, to protect your spiritual practices. So I'm going to put 3 of those in the jar, and again, I keep thinking about my intention. I keep thinking about protection. I keep thinking that I'm safe and I'm happy. Now, by the way, I forgot to mention, but when you do put bay leaves in your jar, you can actually write something on them with a Sharpie. You can write, I am protected, you know, I am safe, I have no enemies, you know, and things like that. Also, basil is known for protection and help and just bringing good fortune and helping with finances. But yes, one of the main properties of it is basil, especially for females, by the way. Basil is really good. However, you know, anybody could use it. So as you can see, we're getting a lot of stuff in our jar, and it's starting to look better and better and better. So now that we're done with the herbs, I would like to start with essential oils. Now guys, rosemary. I apologize that the bottle is kind of dirty. Rosemary, first of all, not only that it replaces any essential oil for any kind of ritual, but it's also the strongest, the most powerful oil for protection. If you don't have cinnamon stick or ground cinnamon at home, maybe, you know, look at your essential oil collection. Maybe you have cinnamon essential oil. This could work too. Now, I wouldn't use a lavender or anything like that or vanilla for this specific ritual, just because we want to use something that is designed for protection. Rosemary, if you have rosemary herbs instead of oil, add that, okay? So let's add a few drops. Now, this is totally up to you how many drops you want to add. I don't know how much I'm adding. I just want a lot of it in there. And again, you can repeat to yourself, I'm protected, I'm safe. Guys, especially if you're dealing with really negative people in your life, I'm on YouTube, you know, I'm obviously out there. And I don't really get that much negativity, but, you know, sometimes it happens. However, if you're dealing with really angry ex, if you're dealing with really sketchy neighbors, anybody that wants to cause you harm, this is great for you. Oh, I also forgot to mention that I like to add sage. Sage as oil and sage as actual herb. So let's add a couple drops of that. Sorry I'm all over the place, guys. I'm usually like this. With everything, really. I am kind of all over the place. I'm Gemini Mercury, and I actually had some organic sage herbal tea, but it's an herb and I'm adding it as well. I'm gonna add a generous amount because sage is so important, guys. If you never burn sage at your house, like, what are you doing? You need to. Okay, so here we go. We added a generous amount of sage and sage essential oil. And now the last thing, which is probably my favorite, I'm going to use black tourmaline, and I'm going to drop it right in my jar. Now, this is going to be a little bit difficult just because I have a cinnamon stick in there, but guys, any black stone really would work. Now, you can also use amethyst. This would work very well as well. This is also a protection stone. But I would go with a darker crystal like black tourmaline because it's very powerful. I carry it with me everywhere. I travel with it. It's a very powerful stone, guys. So I recommend getting it even if you're not into spiritual practices, okay? It's going to be very helpful for you. Also, I got selenite here. This is also really good for protection, okay? But I have a big piece and I'm not crushing it. No, I have a little black tourmaline that's going to serve me in my protection jar. Okay, and we're all set. Here you go with your protection jar. I know it doesn't look very pretty, but it's got so much power in it. And guys, the main thing, the most important thing is your intention. So if your intention is clear, that you want to be protected, that this is going to be great use for you, that it's going to keep you safe, it will. And again, I just want to remind you that this does not have to be this big. It can be this big, and it can be put in your purse. It can be put under your pillow. It can be put on your windows in each room, by your doorways, anywhere where you want protection. But of course, if I were you, I would keep it at home, because home is your sanctuary and you want it safe. Okay? Alright guys, so we're done with this ritual. Let me know down in the comments if you've tried it, how did you like it, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.